you've got an exercise you should at least be thinking about working on. It is due the week of the 19th, and that is basically Thursday the 22nd. All right, what I'm going to do is the following. Since we're now kind of behind schedule, here's how I'm going to catch up. Good news, bad news. What I'm going to do is delay the midterm as well, because the midterm is now scheduled 2 weeks from today. I'm going to bump that back to the time in which the exercise is due. Now, the exercise is due on the 22nd, as I just said. That's going to be the day of the midterm. Both are going to do at the same time. Both are due at the same time. Now, if you want, you can turn one in early. That's fine. But midterm and exercise are all now happening on October 22nd. That's in about 3 weeks. That way, at that point, we'll be back up to the schedule, and we can go back to where using this makes sense. Is that clear? Any questions on that? I will have an extensive review for the midterm. That'll take most of a class session. I'll ask the TA to conduct extra study sessions outside of class, if you're interested, not mandatory, in preparation for that midterm. That's coming up 3 weeks from today. Exercise also due 3 weeks from today as well. Today is the 1st of October. Can fall start now? I'm tired of the heat. I'm over that. Okay, so at any rate, one more time. Quiz number 3 coming up next time. I'll do the review. Midterm and exercise all due on the 22nd. If you, and I encourage you, get that exercise done early. Bring it to me during office hours. Show it to me after class, and I'll give you feedback. Remember, that's one of those things you can keep doing over and over again till you get the number of points you want until it's formally due, which is on the 22nd. One more time. Are there any questions about any of that stuff? Yes?
For the assignment, do you want us to use more the references we have to look at, like an article or anything?
No, you don't have to.
Can we?
Yes, of course. Of course. You're more than welcome to do that. But I will not require that you actually use those. I do that particularly because of the books. I can be honest with you. I got about 200 students doing the exact same assignment. If you wait another week and a half or so, those books will probably all be gone out of the library. So it's just not fair for me to require that you use that stuff in your assignment. But you can if you have to get it. Any other questions? No? Okay, let me review what we talked about last time. This is actually preparation for the quiz coming up as well. Can somebody turn off the light? Because I'm turning up the skylights here so you can see the PowerPoint. All right, so this is the syllabus, obviously. Let me just review the main points we've talked about, because this is actually a review for the quiz. The quiz will go back to anything related to science or research, but that will also include the UCR and the NCBS. The UCR is collected by whom?
FBI.
The FBI. But in fact, a picture of crime is seen through what?
The police.
Police reports. Police reports. The NCBS is a what? Survey. It is the only survey of crime, at least that we've talked about. It is a survey of what kind of people? Victims. Victims. You do a random survey of the American population, but then you ask them if they've been a victim of crime. Overall, which one of those is generally better? NCBS. The weakness of the UCR is that it is reported crime, and the classic example of that is the crime of rape. For most of the history of the UCR, over and over again, year after year, city after city, for most of its history, the UCR has consistently given the same picture. Women are most likely to be raped by strangers. That's not true, but those are the kind that get reported to the police. Then we started talking more specifically about science. Easiest, simplest statement of science. The search for empirical truth means what? The search for empirical truth means what? Measurable. Measurable. You got to be able to measure it to do science. Made that statement a little more complicated. Science is the careful collection of data, the logical explanation, and the publication of findings in a scientific journal. What makes a scientific journal besides boredom?
Peer review.
Peer review.
Peer review. What does that mean?
That means reviewed by many scientists.
By the fellow scientists doing similar research in the field that you are submitting your research. That is, if you are doing research on heart disease, it'll be fellow cardiologists. If you're doing research on allergies, it'll be allergy doctors or allergy researchers who are going to be doing that evaluation of your research. Okay. The difference between science starts off with the observation of a general relationship between things. People living close to a swamp tends to have higher rates of malaria. What is that kind of relationship?
Correlation.
Correlation. Correlation. If I now understand exactly what's going on, it's not just the swamp, it's the mosquitoes. And it's not just any kind of mosquitoes, it's an Anopheles mosquito. And it's not even the mosquito itself, it's the bacteria in the saliva that gets injected into the body that reproduces and causes the disease called malaria. I have now moved from correlation to what?
Causation.
Causation. I know exactly what's going on. No mystery, no vagueness left. Okay. Then, in an experiment, which is the only way of getting us close to causation, the researcher controls all variables. One word associated with the experiment. What is it? I just said it. Control. Control, control. That's why experiments are done where?
In a laboratory.
Laboratory. In that experiment, the researcher controls all variables, makes a change in the independent variable, measuring the impact on the dependent variable. If I believe that aspirin reduces the risk of heart disease, what is aspirin in that? The independent or dependent variable?
Independent.
Independent variable. Therefore, heart disease is the dependent variable. If I think sociology causes boredom, what is boredom? Independent or dependent variable? Dependent. Boredom is caused by sociology. Anybody need more examples of that? Okay. In that research then, you expose, you control everything, make a change in the independent variable, measure the impact of the dependent variable by comparing the rates of whatever your dependent variable between the control and the experimental group. Those two groups are to be identical. How do you ensure that? Random assignment. That is, they are by random selection. On average, they will be exactly the same. Now, you will expose one of those groups to your independent variable. Which one is it? If the experimental or control group, which one is exposed to the independent variable? The experimental group. The control group is the point of what?
Nothing. They're the base.
They're the base. They are the point of
Reference.
reference or comparison. Comparison. Then you're done with your science. You're going to make two evaluations whether you've done good science or not. One is reliability. Second is validity. If I am going to test reliability of an experiment, what should be done? Repeat it. Repeat it. If I'm interested in validity, what should I be interested in? Whether I really measured what I intended. Let's go back to the UCR. Is the UCR a reliable measure of rate?
Yes.
Yes. How come? Yes, it is. How come?
It's come up with the same answer.
Because you keep coming up with the friggin' same answer. It's always the wrong answer. But that's, remember, that's all that reliability says. It keep getting the same answer over and over again. It can be the wrong one. What's the problem with the UCR as a measurement of rate? Not its reliability, but it's what? Validity. Are we really measuring rate? No. What kind of rate are we measuring with the UCR?
Reported rate.
Reported rate. Okay, good, good, good. Then, surveys. In a survey, you create a questionnaire. Write questions so that you do not bias the outcome. If you are consciously biasing the outcome, that is, you are trying to get an answer you already know you want, that's called a push poll. A push poll. Now, you're going to take those questions and you are going to administer them to a group. You are interested in the opinion of a particular group. The group itself that you're interested in is called what? The population. If you administer that questionnaire to every member of the group, what's that called?
Sample.
No.
Pop.
If
Census.
every member of the
Census.
group is questioned, it's called a
Census.
census. Only if you choose a smaller group is that called a sample. How do you choose that smaller group to administer a questionnaire so you don't waste time, money, or effort? How do you choose that small group so it's identical on average to the large group?
Completely random.
Random. Okay, good on that. Then we talked about field research, precision observation, ethnography. There's a lot of terms. What does that involve? What does it involve? Being there. Going there. Taking a look. Going out into the field and observing what is taking place. And then taking careful notes. That is rich in human detail, interesting to read, often a good orientation to an area, a topic, a concern that you can't access any other way. But that kind of research has a lot of problems in terms of its science. It lacks reliability and validity. Reliability means, look, an awful lot depends on the observational abilities of the observer. A lot depends on how well he or she writes. That means not anybody can repeat it. Remember, in science, anybody should be able to repeat it and get the same result. Validity is almost always a problem just because you have a very small sample. You're looking at one motorcycle gang. Does that represent all gangs?
No.
Even all motorcycle gangs? No. Almost inevitably, questions of validity. All right. Then we finally talked about ethics and research and the Milgram study. The Milgram study. Remember Milgram study? Here's the hint. What's the hint? Psst. Taking orders to inflict pain, at least if they believe they were inflicting pain. As a matter of fact, over half of them believed that they were not just inflicting pain, they were inflicting death on somebody. Brilliant study, but what was its problem? Not its insight, not its validity, not its reliability. Well, actually reliability because it's never been repeated. Because why? It's unethical. It's unethical. All right. Then we talked about culture a little bit. We talked about values, general beliefs, norms, specific rules. To pursue a value, violate that, and you get punished. The least serious form of norm. Which one? The least punishment. Folkway. The more serious one is a more. Get it? More serious. Okay. What's a law? Can it be either one of a? Can it be a folkway?
Yeah.
Yes. Can it be a more?
Definitely.
So what makes it a law? Government enforcing it. But have all societies have organized governments? No. If you've read that reading by the Linskys, about the Linskys, you should recognize early human societies like hunter-gatherers, too small to have a government. Therefore, they did not have laws, but they did have mores and folkways. Okay. Then we talked about language, the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, otherwise known as the linguistic relativity hypothesis, says that language determines what? Culture. Language determines the content of culture. If you got 30 words of snow, that's a culture that's going to pay a lot of attention to snow. If you